Hi, this is Dr. Dave, and in this video I want to get you started on the project that you're working on right now, the one where you're building up a stock portfolio. Now your team is going to be building up a portfolio of 4 stocks, and that portfolio is going to be based on a certain amount of money that you're investing, a certain dividend yield that you want to get from these stocks, and a certain level of beta. Beta being how much that stock moves with the stock market overall. So the first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and get yourself logged into Google. And when you get into My Drive, the way you'll do that is you'll look for these Google apps in the upper right, click there, and find the Drive icon. Click on that. And when you do that, it'll take you to the page that you see right here. Inside My Drive, you should find a folder. For me, the folders are found down here. And you should see one of these folders. I'm going to share these with you. Inside these folders is everything your team needs for the projects. So let me go ahead and go into a folder I've created just to kind of show you what's going on. That's Team 0. So I'm going to double click there. And you should find a Math 172 Project 1 team, whatever team you are. This is where you're going to do a lot of the calculations for your project. So let me go ahead and double click on that. And what this is a Google Sheet. Right now it has one tab in it. The tabs are down here, and this tab has all the team members on it. So your name should be listed down here in the first column, somewhere in rows 2 through 5. Your college email should be listed next to that. And then what we're going to do in this particular assignment that we're working on now is we're going to go ahead and choose some stock symbols, put down the name of the company, the dividend yield, and the beta. So our goal is to choose what companies you're going to use on this project. Now, there are some criteria. You've got $100,000 to invest. You need a certain level of dividend yield. And so we're going to pick those things from some broad ranges. So you'll be able to look at something and go, oh, I've heard of that company, and you might pick that. But we also need a broad range of beta values. Now to find these, the best place to go is Google Finance. So Google Finance is at www.google.com/finance. When you go in here, you'll be taken to a page like this one, and we want to go to the left-hand side where we see Stock Screener. What this allows us to do is to look for stocks that meet certain criteria. So when you look up here right now, the criteria that are listed are market cap, and I want you to use companies that are fairly large. So we're going to leave that market cap there. We have PE ratio, that's the price to earnings ratio. That's not one of our criteria, so I'm going to come over here, click on the X. Dividend yield, yep, we want to have dividend yield here. We want to make sure that these stocks give us back a certain amount of money every year. But we're not going to worry about the price change. The only thing we're missing right now is the beta, which tells us how much that the stock moves with the overall stock market. So I'm going to go down here to Add Criteria, Stock Metrics, and then grab Beta and say Add Criteria. So let me show you how you might go ahead and use this. So let's make sure we're using fairly large companies, things that are going to be here for the long haul. And you'll notice that it says these are all the distribution of companies. So let's start by searching for our company. And I want this company to be on the New York Stock Exchange. So we're going to go up here and select New York Stock Exchange. When I do that, it automatically goes ahead and adjusts for that down here, and there's going to be a bunch of companies listed. We want very large companies, so I'm going to type in for market cap, a minimum market cap of $1 billion. So that's the value of this company's stock spread out over all the shares. Now, you're going to have different people in your group selecting for a different dividend yield. Remember, we want one company that has a dividend yield between 1 and 2%, another between 2 and 3, another between 3 and 4, and the fourth company between 4 and 5. So I'm going to start out and look for one between 1 and 2. So my minimum dividend yield is going to be 1%, and on the upper end, I'm going to choose 2%. Now, this is a fairly low dividend yield, and so I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe I'm going to want this not to move with the market in general. Maybe it's going to move less than the market moves overall. So that means I want a beta that is, say, between 0 and 1. If a company has a beta of 1, it moves perfectly in step with the overall market. But if the beta is less than 1, well, then it moves less than the overall market. When the beta is greater than 1, it moves even more than the overall market itself. So with this criteria in place, I now have 212 companies to look at. And so I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to find one. One of the things that's kind of nice to do here is to try and look for companies that you actually are familiar with. Maybe Alaska Air Group. That's what Alaska Airlines is run through. Alcoa. They sell things about aluminum. So let me scroll through here a little bit. See what we find. I think I'm going to go to the T's here. And pick one that I'm kind of sweet on. Let's see, how about, let's see. Oh, there's one I'm sweet on. Tootsie Roll Industries. So Tootsie Roll Industries, the number right here is the dividend yield, and I'm going to be doing for this between 1 and 2, so that one's pretty good. And if I look at this a little bit, it also shows the beta right here. It has a beta of 0.70. Right? So this column's the dividend yield, this one's the beta. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to go ahead and write those things down. And then go back to my Google sheet right here and enter the values here. So the stock symbol was TR. The company was Tootsie Roll. And that doesn't quite fit on there, so let me come up here and grab the border on this column, drag it over a little bit. Now let's see, what was that? The dividend yield on this was 1.16. So I'll put that in here. And the beta was 0.70. So now that I have that in there, your entire team, because this is shared with everyone, can see exactly what you've chosen as your particular company. And so this fulfills the requirement that we have a dividend yield from 1 to 2. Since that's a fairly low dividend yield, I'm going to look for this thing to not move in tune with the market. So probably a beta between, let's say 0 and 1. Now you can go back, go all the way up to the top. And someone else on your team would probably search under a different criteria. Maybe they're looking for the one that goes from 2 to 3. 116 companies here. Then I'd go ahead and search those out here, find things that I'm familiar with. Not a whole lot of them on this particular page, but let's go over to another page of these and see if we see anything. Oh, there's Colgate Palmolive, Clorox. Those are very large companies. ConAgra Foods. Ooh, I like food. I might pick that one. But what you want to try and do is pick companies that you're kind of familiar with, so you have, so you can resonate with them. I probably wouldn't want to pick something like Endurance Specialty Holdings. I have no idea what they do. If you want to know a little bit more about the foods, you can go ahead and click on the name here, and it will go ahead and give you a feed that shows the recent news, what it's done over the past several days, and a lot of other information about the company. So when you're all done, what you're hoping to see is this. So let's take a look what it should look like. So once your team has finished this assignment, you should end up with having 4 different stocks here. If you have less than 4 people on your team, just put it in another column here, or just add it in a row here, and with no student assigned to it. But I need you to have 4 stocks. So even if you have fewer people, your team's going to have to work together to get 4 of them. So here are the stock symbols. Here are the names of the companies. Notice that I have a dividend yield that goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. I don't care about the order in here. I can always sort these if I need be. And notice that I have some of these with a beta less than 1 and some with a beta greater than 1. We need to have both ends of the scale here for this to work the way we want. In other words, we want some companies that move very, very little compared to the overall market index, and some that move a lot. We need some that have a lower yield and some that have a higher yield. We're trying to create a balanced portfolio. When you're done with this, all of these things are here. You don't have to do anything. I have access to this at any time, as does the members on your team. I will go ahead and look at this sheet and make sure that these numbers all look good and you have a good balanced portfolio. And then you're ready to go ahead once I give you some feedback and move on to the next tech assignment.